Has the market officially tanked? Well, let's look at some data and see what that's going to tell us. This is what we're going to talk about in today's video. And of course, we're going to do the market in review for the month of October for all of Toronto Real Estate Board. So let's roll the intro. Okay, my friends, yes. Has the market tanked? Well, we're going to talk about this and many more things in today's video. But first, big shout out to everyone that's been reaching out to me. This past week, I got to meet with a handful of realtors and talk about how to improve their business and look for niches within their business and how they can support you and their clients, which is pretty cool. I also had a handful of clients reach out to me to say, hey, Gare, what is going on with pricing? I'm getting ready to buy some investment properties. What does this look like from a mortgage perspective and of course, how we're going to finance the properties and everything that goes in between. So I said, well, wait for my video on Friday and we're going to talk about what the market looks like for the month of October. And there's a lot of interesting things that have been happening. Of course, we had our interest rate hike a few weeks ago. Are we going to get another one before the end of the year? I don't know. So we'll see what that happens. It wouldn't surprise me if they do a hold on that interest rate hike, let the Christmas shopping happen, and then the first announcement in the new year, perhaps that's when we see another hike. And all the other things that are being added into it, like low employment rate right now. Yet from our friends in the States, we're seeing and we're hearing more and more companies in the States with major layoffs. So there's kind of mixed messages that's going on here. And, something that's interesting too, with when you have a higher inflation, you actually need higher unemployment rates. So the spending becomes less. So really, really strange things that are happening right now. Our friends to the south of the border are talking about a recession. Are they about to enter one? Some will say they're already in one. And of course, what happens in the States has a ripple effect up here in Canada. So we'll just have to wait and see. However, there's been lots going on the Toronto Real Estate Board. So as I always do, we're going to share my screen and we're going to look at the McGowan report for the month of October on the entire Toronto Real Estate Board this time and see what is really, really happening. And as I go through this, I want to remind you that this report, all my reports, are always available for downloads. And if you have questions, please reach out to me or send me a private message or DM. Put your message or comments in the comments below. Happy to circle back and answer any of them. So without further ado, let's get into this and we'll share my screen here. Here we go. Boom. There we have it. Let's get rid of this. Nope. Let's not get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. That's it. So this is for the month of October, and we're going to go through all of these pages. Some I'll go through a little bit quicker than others, but again, download this report, use it for your education. That's why that's why I do these videos. It really is. So let's just kind of skip the overview. There's the overview. Boom. If you don't want to watch any more of it, that's what's happening in our market right now. However, let's dig a little deeper and see what's going on. So new listings for the month of October, then we'll look at year to date. You can see right here, let me get my pen handy here, and you can see what's going on for the month of October. And there's always interesting things. So for the last several years, you can see we've been at 15,000, 20,000, 13,000, and now down to, we'll call it it says 12,900 right here. But what is going on? We're seeing less and less listings. So what is that going to do to our sales? Well, we'll have a look at that in just a second here. So you can see since May, we've been going down, not quite half, but in May of this year, we were at 22,000, and now we're at call it the 13,000. So we are certainly seeing less people bring their home to market. And I know there's a lot of sellers out there that perhaps took their home off the market because they weren't getting the action that they were looking for. And they're waiting for that early spring market or perhaps the winter market. Now, new listings for year to date We're at 168,000, which is about where we have been for the last several years, year to date. So that's interesting news. Yet we're seeing less and less sales. So there should be months of inventory, right? That's what that would tell us. Well, we'll look at that in just a moment here. As we scroll down, let's look at the average asking price. So this is the strategy that the listing agent and the seller come together on, and what is the asking price going to be, and when they do their homework. I feel right now that you got to be pricing ahead of the market. So don't look at what your friends are doing and say, yeah, we're going to follow them with insane suit. You might have to price yourself a little bit less than what your friends or your neighbors or other listings, your competition, is doing. And you can see that here. Again, the red is the prior year, gray is current year. And we're hovering right now in the month of October at 1.29. And you can see that's kind of in where we were, call it where we were last year, but very, very interesting. And as I scroll down and look at the year to date numbers are going to be really skewed, although it is the same for year to date. For the month of October. Year to date, we're going to take in perhaps the heavy or fast moving market that we had in the earlier months. And that's going to skew these numbers a little bit. So always best to kind of peel the onion away and look at it from that perspective of what's happening in the current market today, not what was happening in January or February, as we've been saying here. So as I scroll down and I want to look at the sold properties for October. This is what really stood out to me. So you can see the month of October was at 5,470 homes, and that sold on Treb, on Olive Treb. And you see last year we were almost at 11,000. So a big decline down right here year over year from month of last year to this month. And that's a huge difference. If you want to see it differently, you can see it right here. Big change right there. And the year to date, this is really interesting because we talked about last year being the best that we've ever had at 120,000 homes sold. And you can see we're at 77,000 homes this year. So we're certainly seeing that number come down. But when you base it against the best year that we've ever had, well, of course, the number is going to be down. But even back in 2019, well before COVID, and even in early 2020, you can see these numbers look drastically different. So some interesting things are happening. And even if we kind of average out 5,000 homes for the month of November and 5,000 for December, which I don't think we're going to see, even if we did about 4,000 at best, we're going to sell, as the math would indicate, approximately another 8,000 homes, or close, I should say, 8,000 homes before the end of the year. I don't know if that's going to happen, my friends. What's the over under? Should we do over 8,000 or under 8,000? I think I'd be taking the under on that one. So you can see what's going on there. Average sale price for the month of October, well, that's going to be down. That should be of no surprise to us. And if you've been watching my videos, of course, we had that tipping point in the month of September where the average sold price was less than it was the previous year. We talked about this. We knew that was going to happen. And you can see that's just at over $1 million here. And compared to last year at 1.17, and now we're at 1.07. And that's still, if you look at it though, if you kind of take out the previous year of 2021, we are ahead of 2020, which is really interesting. See these numbers right here. We're ahead of where we were in 2020. So when in doubt, zoom out, look at the big picture, and look at it from that perspective. Year to date numbers, well, of course, that's going to be right along with what we've been saying. We should be a little bit higher year to date numbers, but year to date from this is not a good gauge of what the market is doing currently, these year to date numbers, but it's in the report nonetheless. Okay, days on market. Days on market. So for the month of October, we've been sitting at about 24 days, or just over 3 weeks. That's, of course, an increase from last year. That should be no surprise. And we are seeing that increase slightly over the last couple of weeks too. So, and you can see here, we're kind of in line with what the market was doing in 2019. So if there's a theme in today's video, we're kind of following along 2019's numbers. Interesting, right? Very interesting. Okay, days on market year to date. Let's not even look at this slide. Let's go right past it because it's not relevant to our current market that we're currently in today, the year to date numbers. Average sell to average ask to sell ratio, we're sitting at 98.7%. And again, that's the listing agent and the seller creating a great marketing plan and coming together at a great valuation, and the market agrees with what that home is being listed at. And if you haven't watched my videos in the past, you list a home for $1 million, the data would tell us if it's priced correctly, you should be selling or purchasing that home for $987,000. Uh, that's what this data tells us. So we can see what that's going for and how that looks. So when you're working with buyers, or you're a buyer yourself and you're working with a great agent, you would know that you're doing the homework to see what currently is being sold on the market, and does it factor into the home that you're looking at that you want to put an offer in. And if all things line up, you should be purchasing that home at about 98.7% of the asking price. That's what that boils down to. And that's what that looks like. Of course, there's room for negotiation, but just a simple rule of thumb, that's how I would look at it. That's how I would coach my buying clients as well. Of course, there's always room for negotiation, but it's always good to go in with as much education as possible. Year-to-date numbers, let's skip right by that, because again, that's going to skew our numbers. That brings us to the end of this report, but I wanted to show you something. If you're like me, you're visual. You like looking at visual things. So I'm going to share my screen in just a second here again with some other data. And I always like looking at this data. What are we going to be sharing next? We are going to be sharing uh, here. Let's just share it. Let's just get right into it. Here we go. Okay. So what are we looking at? There's a lot of colors on here. So the green that we're looking at here is since January 1st. This chart reflects January 1st to the end of October. And the green is new listings. So how many new listings did we see? And you've seen me do this report in the past, but this is for the entire Toronto Real Estate Board. The red is what has sold over that same time period. So we're looking at, and breaks us down into the weekly basis. And you can see here, the dotted blue line is the valuation of what these homes have sold for. If I can just highlight one of the blue spots here. So 1.2, that was your average price, or I should say, not your average. We never want to look at average. We want to look at median price. 1.2 on February 26th. That was kind of the height of the market. And if we look today, scrolling down, and we pick out that number, we're at 926,000. That would be your median price for the moment. And you can see the part here, if I can zoom in a little bit more, we are at, and this is right across Canada, because people are hanging on to their listings a little more tightly now, which is what I'm saying is they're not bringing their home to market, or they're taking their home off the market. And as I said, they're waiting for that early January, mid-January market, or late April, that spring market. We're having people take their listings off the market or hang on to them. So we're seeing a little crunch. It's really, really interesting. We're seeing a little crunch of listings come down, and our number of sales is creeping up ever so slightly, because we're having less properties to look at. If you can believe that, over the last several months, especially in the summer, we talked about buyers had choices, and they still have choices, don't get me wrong, yet we're seeing a little bit less inventory than what we've been accustomed to over the last 6 or so months, which is interesting. And if you've been following along with what the government of Canada is announcing, they just announced that they will be seeking a minimum of 700 new immigrants every year. And we know that immigrants typically will fall into the Toronto GTA area and the Vancouver area. Those would be the two areas in Canada where the majority of immigrants will come. And of course, what do they do? What do they need? They need a place to live. The other interesting thing, it was just one little sentence in this report. I wish I had it up. If I did, if I had it, I'd show you. The one little sentence, which I think got overlooked in this same report that the Canadian government put out, is they will be accepting less refugees and allow for more immigrants to come. And when immigrants come, they typically come with a few things. They typically have money, and they're well educated. So that means our workforce is going to have an increase of talent, right? And that means there's going to be some new industries coming. So it'll be really interesting how they try and balance that out in a possible recession that everyone's been talking about. Really, really intriguing. And if you own rental properties, perhaps you're going to see a better quality applicant come your way, which I know for myself and a lot of other landlords, we're already seeing that right now. So there you have it. That's the McGowan report. We just did an awesome video of, the last video we called it, "Is the Market Gone to Schitt's Creek?" And some of you watched it and loved it. We actually went and toured one of the listings that is on Schitt's Creek, the TV show. And my good friend Mike has that listing. We walked through it. We actually talked about what's going on in the market and what he's seeing in the market. So go and watch that video.